1950s singer and former paramour of Sir Roger Moore, Dorothy Squires said it best when she claimed, of course, if you love someone, say it with flowers. Who remembers that big hit from all of those years ago? This is exactly what's happened with Harry and Meghan, and someone, well, two, that they've actually fallen out with. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you today. And as ever, we're hurtling towards Halloween, aren't we? I don't know about you. I don't know when Halloween became such a big thing over here in the United Kingdom. I just don't understand why it's now such a biggie. When I was growing up, it really was only kind of one night. And when you think about it, we had this thing over here, I'm sure it's the same with you, called Trick or Treat, where, you would take around, I think it was like a stuffed guy or something like that, but you knocked on people's door and it was allegedly a trick or a treat. And most people gave you a few sweets. Now you'd have to hand over your credit card, wouldn't you? Yes, probably your PIN number just to get them from smashing your windows. I'm not laughing, but it's a serious thing. I think all of that bit should really be outlawed. But again, the Halloween thing, very strange. Big business though, clearly very big business when you look around the shops and the stuff that are going on. Now, as I say, this particular story I find an odd thing really, because when you think about it, you could have had the very best of friendship with these two. That's right, the Beckhams, who are now joining a revival of Fortunes. People are loving them once again, all thanks to that docu-series on Netflix, doing it the right way. As we told you recently, Netflix really hold this up as the correct way to put together a proper, successful docu-series. This is what Harry and Meghan should have done. Held a mini sort of premiere, met people, done interviews, and let people see both sides, explain the reasons behind certain things. As I said before, including that terrible mock curtsy. Maybe that would have been the good opportunity behind that. Didn't want to do it, their way or no way, clearly. But now, as you know, the Beckhams and Harry and Meghan have fallen out all about some insinuations allegedly regarding, tit for tat with the media. Bit silly, really, when you think about it, because David and Victoria Beckham do lead very private lives in many respects, but when they have product to sell, they're very much out in the public domain. Nothing wrong with that. That's their role. That's their job. As I said, I've known them years. I do find them very pleasurable, always polite, always, of course, Victoria's got a great sense of humor, actually, always ready for a good laugh. And let's not forget, a Spice Girl. So always going to have some, of course, affection in our hearts for that. But what's interesting now is, no doubt on the orders of Netflix, Harry and Meghan have been told, should we say politely, to send over congratulations. So they did. Champagne, flowers, and a note on their success of their series with Netflix, as one can imagine. And when you think about it, I think this is the perfect sort of entree back, thanking them, saying, look, we've watched it, we think it's great. Now, what's also interesting is, according to that very well-placed source, David and Victoria have yet to acknowledge this, but more importantly, acknowledge this in public. That is the bigger issue. This would be, and this was the idea, if you like, to get that acknowledgement out in the public domain. So it shows a thawing of relationships. As we saw with Prince Harry, he recently attended a football soccer game over in the US and, of course, was snubbed, some people might say, on literally at the event by David Beckham. Wouldn't have happened a few years ago. The inside track is simply this, that both David and Victoria seemingly are more friendly with Catherine and William. The cynics might suggest that David is still very much looking for that knighthood and does not want to do anything to jeopardize that. So some manky flowers and a few boxes of chocolates and a gift note, perhaps from one-time royals, but not really now in the sort of public domain, for them at least, even though they're stable mates in Netflix, is simply not going to cut it. So as ever with Harry and Meghan, even though they thought they'd cut through and perhaps were able, in public at least, to show a thawing of relationships, they're going to have to try again. Is it ever going to end? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.